And you are live. Looks like I went to all my destinations. Yeah, I didn't know if you you know this. I think you just got StreamYard. You can send it out to two places that you want, probably your YouTube and Facebook. Okay. We'll take a few seconds to let people start getting on here and introduce you and pray us in. By the way, thanks for having me on yours. What was it, a week or two ago?
Yeah, last week.
Pretty awesome. I replayed it and was like automatically kind of critical of myself. I'm like, there's so much I didn't say.
Do that.
I know. I just, I think I'm better if I got asked questions too, but it was pretty decent. And I'm glad it got out there so much because it's not about like what I thought of it. It's about what God can do with it out there. And the numbers do matter, not to us, but to God. So, if 5 people saw it, great. I know God did something with that, but a little bit more than 5, and I'm happy with that. And I appreciate you returning the favor and sharing your testimony with us tonight.
It's an honor, man.
For the 25th time, this will be you telling your testimony for the 25th time.
No. This is actually, I'm a rookie at this right here. I've never done it.
I just had to say that. I just his face is like, what? Yeah, this is
I think your notes are wrong. That's what I was sitting there thinking. Like,
get the nerves out, man. There probably ain't any anyway, but yeah, this is what up, everybody? GBR family, everybody on YouTube, Facebook. I'm assuming the I Am Living Proof podcast and Jason's page and family and friends. It's on the spot time. This is Jason Richmond, and like I said, he's got a podcast and YouTube channel entitled I Am Living Proof, where he does things like this, like these live testimonies with brothers and sisters. It's something I thoroughly enjoy. I had the honor of sharing my testimony with him a week ago, and he's returning the favor. Once you come to Christ and allow him into your life, it's a feeling you don't want to let go of. And whether you're 20 years into this journey, whether you're, a year or two, just like me and Jason, I guess they would still refer to us as infants on this walk, and maybe we're still even, drinking milk and not eating meat yet as far as knowledge goes. But once you know something's real and that you didn't really do it, it was done to you and for a bigger reason than just yourself. That's a big thing. And for me, it was kind of like fulfilling all the things that I was trying to get and attain years ago in my selfishness, to like fill these voids when I didn't even really know were there. I just think it's required really to share a form of the good news, which is the good news that Christ saved us from ourselves, our testimonies. I think they're absolutely essential these days. It doesn't tell people who God is. It tells people what God has done for you and what he can do for you in your situation. So Jason is gracing us with his presence tonight, man. And thanks for taking a shower before you got home.
Yeah, you guys didn't want to see me about 45 minutes ago. It was nasty.
He works about 1,300 feet underground, coal mine. Very respectable job, man. And something that I would easily say I could not do. And just respect you all the more for that and sharing your time with us tonight after what I'm sure was a long day.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I want to do. I'm going to pray us in after I say this disclaimer right quick. This is something I feel like I have to start doing more often. I know a little bit about Jason's story as I get these little mini testimonies from people so I can write up a description for the event and get some questions, but I never know everything that's going to come. And by saying that, we cannot sugarcoat or edit these testimonies of what God has done for us. We can maybe spare some of the gory details of some situations for people who have been really dark and deep, and that's understandable. But if at any time Jason might be talking about something that really hits home and is super relatable to somebody that you might still be kind of struggling with or haven't let go of, and it triggers you into some bad emotions and feelings, and you feel like leaving the broadcast, please, I implore you to at least say something in the comments so somebody from GBR can reach out to you. I mean, I can speak for Jason on this where, I say that, we both enjoy doing this, but at the expense of somebody else having, a fall, a relapse or something like that. It may not be up to us to prevent that, but we can at least say that we care. And we want you to reach out to us if anything gets a little bit too heavy for you. So please do that. And if you will help me, join me in praying us in, and we'll get this started. Father God, I come to you with a heart full of gratitude and in all humility. You are the creator of all things, Lord. Thank you for redeeming, restoring my brother Jason. Thank you for having him here tonight, giving him the opportunity and me the opportunity to sit with him and hear his testimony and share it with everyone. I hope and pray more specifically that it'll reach the ears and hearts of at least one person, whether it's tonight or weeks or months after it's out there, Lord. And I just ask that you guide his words tonight. Lord, it's the first time he's sharing his testimony, and have him say exactly what you need him to say. And just guide him through this, be with his friends and family, protect his house, Lord, and just be with everybody's friends and family that's going to be watching this, listening in, or even afterwards. Be with me tonight, calm my heart and my nerves, and just let me, say the words and ask questions that you want to ask, Lord, and just please lay a hedge of protection over this whole broadcast. I say this prayer in your holy Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Woo. This is super cool, man. Interviewer in. Let me start now. This just popped in my head. Short form, because it's just like a quick question. I think it'll frame all this. Tell everybody how long you've been having people on doing their testimonies. Shock them by telling them.
I've only had people on sharing testimonies probably since last April.
About when
I think I started in April. I think I started doing the podcast in April, and then I stopped for a while.
Yeah.
I took like 2 or 3 months off and came back with I'm Living Proof podcast. And I just started that. You were just my 4th episode of that one. And we recorded our 5th one Sunday, and I do them on Sundays. So not very long at all.
No. And also let people know your sobriety date.
I don't have a date. It was the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I'm not sure what the date was, but
well, we were thinking around the first week of February or so.
Yeah, it was a Super Bowl. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. It was it was the last one they won.
I can't even remember who they played.
They lost last Super Bowl. You got a Super Bowl coming up.
Yeah.
It was the Super Bowl before that, the one they lost last year. So 2 years ago, this coming Super Bowl.
So
I want to say it was February 5th or something like that.
It sounds about right. I know it's the Super Bowl is always the first week of February, or the first Sunday in February, something like that.
My sobriety date started in a police car.
Perfect place. What better place?
Yeah.
What was the circumstances that got you in that?
Buddy, I really don't remember. I was that intoxicated. I was DUI bound. Ended up with a DUI. Don't remember getting in my vehicle, and I remember having to ask the cops who won the Super Bowl that night.
That was
where I was at. It was bad.
Whew. So a little time in holding cell or whatever.
Yeah, I spent the night, and got out the next morning.
Kelly says, "Is that your wife?"
Yeah, that's my wife.
He said, I think that police officer, thank God. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it was bad, man. I didn't remember.
Good thing that you got arrested. I mean, God will let some bad things happen sometimes to prevent worse things from happening.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody's like hoping to get arrested, but God knew that you needed something and maybe protected some other people out there at the same time. We don't know. And you might not ever remember that full story, but you remember everything that's happened since.
Yeah.
So you had about a year of sobriety before getting saved. I mean, also what might surprise people to know is you haven't been doing this God thing for very long.
No, just a year.
Just a year. You surrendered, gave your will and your life over to God on what very ironic date?
Christmas Eve, man. I was playing Xbox, playing Madden football, and everybody was asleep. And I got up to use the bathroom, and I was walking. I flushed the toilet, and I turned around to walk out of my bathroom, and I heard a voice. I heard a voice that sounded like it was like right behind me, like plain as day, say, "I'm done. Come to me. Come to me." And right away, I realized the voice of my father when I heard that. And every doubt that I ever had was gone right then and there. And I hit my knees in my living room floor, and I got saved right there without anybody knowing it. My wife didn't even find out till that morning when she woke up.
Yeah, I mean, what was your first like explanation or the first question you got asked?
Well, wasn't really a question. She got up, and I looked at her and I said, "We're going to go to church Sunday." And she just kind of looked at me like, "What? We're going to church? Like, I've been trying to get you to go to church for years and you haven't gone." And so I told her, I told her the whole story, and, it was just an answered prayer. She told me she had prayed over me at night, like every night. And, while I was asleep, and that one day she got done praying, and she just said, "I want you to pray for him now, Jesus." And it wasn't long after that he came to me, came after me.
The prayers of others, I swear, Jason, without them, I don't know if a lot of us would be here. My wife, even when she had every right in the world to give up and hate me, still threw up some prayers for me. And because of her faith, she's always had stronger faith than mine. That's just how it is. I'm not being unbiased. I'm getting better with that, getting closer, stronger in mine every day. But I do feel like the faith, and it says it in the Bible. That's one of my favorite things about the Bible is the faith of others saves you. And there's so many stories with that. But because I wasn't in a good place, and I do believe that it was part of God's plan, but more so, his plans get set in motion the more faithful people pray for other people. I feel that God also told you specifically to go to a certain church. I mean, you got the goods right off the bat.
Yeah, like man, there's a lot to that story. He did tell me that the church I needed to go to was right down the road, and it just so happened to be when me and my wife moved to this town of Princeton, West Virginia here about 4 years ago. When we would pass it, I would make fun of it. It was Lifeline Church. It was this really, really, really big church. I would joke with her about how they probably had to pay for parking, how they had an ATM machine in the lobby probably. And I was just very disrespectful towards the church, and I'm not proud of it in any way now. But, looking back at, I think God has a sense of humor. He placed me in that church that I sat there and made fun of.
He absolutely has a sense of humor. My brother Jeremy Mercer has said that for a long time, and he's definitely put Jeremy in situations that were more than just ironic. Humbling. They're very humbling at the same time. So you were a person that you guys have settled into that church though now, right? You've gone. Before this though, before the 24th, December 24th, you wasn't too into God. You didn't have like much of a desire. I'm sure you heard of the name and maybe heard of Christ, but you didn't. Was you just a non-believer, or were you like anti? Would you go out like mocking Christians or?
No, I wasn't anti. I grew up in church. I went to a Christian high school, but I had some events in my life happen, and I chose to convince myself I didn't believe in God and that he wasn't real. And I tried to convince the people around me that he wasn't real.
Well, is that because of other people's actions that made you?
These were all due to my own actions that these things happened to me. But I blamed God for them instead of taking accountability and responsibility for my actions.
I get that. I love how this is starting off, man. Let me do this. Let's pull it back in and take us through this. You're doing great so far. Starting really kind of just, home life as a kid. Tell everybody about your upbringing, siblings, parents, how life was in the home.
I was born in 1987 in a little place called Lincoln County, West Virginia, and my dad was a coal truck driver. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was not always the nicest person. I don't know if he was stressed out with work or what, but he wasn't always the nicest person. My mom did everything she could for me, but my childhood I felt like it was good up until about 5 years old. I was at school and I got pulled out of school early, and my grandpa picked me up and he said, "There's been something happen at your house." And, as a 5-year-old kid, I was like, "What?" And he said, somebody broke into your mom's house, attacked her, raped her, and we got to go home. And
you were 5 years old?
Yeah.
Did you even understand what that word meant? Okay.
From there, my childhood was bad. I vowed as a child to kill that man.
Understandably.
I don't think any child should have to go through that. I don't think any child's goal at 5 years old should be, well, when I get older, I'm going to kill the man that attacked my mom. I'm going to kill the guy that destroyed my family, that split. Because my mom we ended up leaving West Virginia after that happened. My mom was scared. She went to Ohio. We moved to Ohio, Springfield, Ohio. And from that age, man, I just vowed to I was going to hurt that guy for taking my dad away, for, messing my mom up, because my mom wasn't the same after that. She just wasn't. And
how did he take your dad away, though?
My mom, my dad wasn't always the greatest person either, and she kept us away from him too.
Okay.
I don't know. As a child, I don't understand all that. I don't know details. I don't know if he did something. I'm not 100% sure.
They ended up divorcing.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I seen my dad again when I was 12. I was 5 when that happened. I think I was about 12 when I seen my dad, like, for a good amount of time again. And that was just a one-time thing too, till I was older.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do two things here. Ask how your mom's emotional state was through the years after the divorce too, especially, and you and your dad's relationship, your feelings towards him after seeing him not for 7 years. I mean, did you have what was your thoughts and feelings even? I mean, you're just 12 though, but it's just like,
at that age, you think you did something. At that age, you think you did something. You think that, you aren't good enough for your dad to want anything to do with. You feel like he's the one not trying to see you. All kinds of thoughts go through your head. Stuff that just messes you up as a kid, man, mentally.
Yeah. Is he still with us today?
Yeah. He's still with us today.
How are you guys today?
We don't talk. That's a whole nother part of the story. I moved back home and thinking I was going to patch that relationship up. That was never really there because neither one of us were able to have that relationship. I think when you have so many years apart, that relationship's already damaged. I mean, I don't know him. He don't know me. And me and him are both stubborn people, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes absence doesn't make the heart grow any fonder. I mean, then you don't see any. I mean, if it's in God's plans, it's in God's plans. Like two hearts, I always say they can't realign just with one wanting it and not the other. And
Right.
God's timing would have to move both of those people together. Sometimes if you push the issue and I'm going to get back with my dad, we're gonna have a relationship, or vice versa, and you weren't ready for it, that would just cause you to have more animosity. You're gonna say some things out of anger, and sometimes that can make even things worse.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just being left as it is, as bad as that sounds,
Mm-hmm.
maybe preventing, more heartache or whatnot. And if both people ain't ready, God's not going to be like, oh, here they go, so I'm going to fix this. It's got to be in God's timing. I mean, have you seen has he said anything like that would give you a sign that he desires to pick up with you? I mean, and hear how great you've been doing these last 2 years?
No.
I'm going to ask tough. I got to ask a tough one. I mean, let me give you this first, because you're giving me so much. I met my dad twice. It was under circumstances that I needed help from him financially. And that was it. He died in 2006 at the age of 51. That is what it is. I've never really been able to process, I've blamed a lot of stuff on, I didn't have a dad, which is legitimate, but I've used that more as an excuse to kind of not have my life in order. You know what I mean? Now sitting here all these years later, I think it would be cool to talk to him about just stuff that's going on recently. We can't go back in the past and fix nothing. He don't owe me no apology. Stuff happens.
Right.
I don't need to know all that stuff. That's not going to help me out right now. He's not in charge of my healing or nothing. He's not responsible for that. But how much do you desire that? I mean, is it just the way it is? Or are you kind of indifferent, or do you hope someday God might restore that? Or store it, since you said it was really never there.
I think after so much time, because I've been back in West Virginia for a good amount of time now, since 2008, and I spent the majority of that beginning time trying to have a relationship. But like I said, I don't blame him and I don't blame me. I think that time just destroyed that ability. But I would love to have a relationship with my father, but it just doesn't seem like it's something he wants. He's not interested in.
Well, I just wish him really good health and stuff, and that is in God's plans. If he starts, like he told you to go to a certain church and do that, if he puts it on your heart, then you probably have to reach out to him or text message or something. So yeah, we'll just leave it. We'll leave it at that. Is your mom still with us?
Oh yeah.
Well, so how'd that go for her? I mean, what's the question I want to? How affected was she, for years to come? I mean, I know that sounds like a really bad question to ask, but just how much did that affect her? Do you have any brothers or sisters, by the way?
Oh, I have a lot.
So how that affect her? Being a mother to all y'all and trying to raise you and everything like that. How much did it affect her, which in turn affected you guys?
It definitely affected her mentally. It was always living in a house where the windows had to be locked and sometimes screwed down. Alarm systems had to be in place. Floodlights outside that came on. If the movement was outside, they had to come on. But as a mother, man, she still did what she needed to do. She was still a good mother.
Well, you have a lot of respect for that. She just raised you guys single mothers?
No, we hit some bump in the roads, and she met my stepdad, and that was a different part of my story.
I mean, as far as your brothers and sisters go, I mean, they're all how they all doing? If you could sum it up, they're all out on their own with families of their own, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're all out on their own, doing great, have families. There was only two of us that were affected by, just me and my sister, that were affected by that event. That was actually my dad and mom together.
You guys, so all y'all close?
Some of us are, some of us aren't so close,
but nobody's dealing with any current addictions or nothing like that you're aware of?
No. I had a little brother. He struggled with some stuff, but he's found the help that he needed, and he seems to be on a pretty clean path for the last few years.
Oh, praise Jesus. And I mean, I mean, and in turn, the more he sees you doing what you're doing or what God's doing through you, that will help him. You know what I mean? To live an example more than just words.
Yeah.
If you don't live out what you are talking about, then why you even talking?
Right.
Must be for some other reason. I mean, that's a lot of grace extended to your family, even with that horrible situation. All five, you and your brothers and sisters, all are doing okay. They're well. They're healthy. That doesn't happen all the time. And I mean, so that's really something I think, you know, God should get all the glory for on that.
Yeah.
Let me get on to this one. When did you, I got I'm going to add these together. When, like you said, you grew up with God and in church and went to high school that was, you know, Christian based. So when did you first hear about God? And what would you say? Well, I think you just did. What was the big or first event that affected you emotionally, that kind of began guiding you down some darker, winding paths?
That first event was the one I was just talking about, but I got introduced to God very, very young. Like, I went to church with my grandparents when I was a toddler. We always went to church in my household, you know, on Sundays. I was very big into youth group as a teenager. So God was always there. Like, you know, he was. At one point, I really thought that I was living for God, and I don't think I was fully surrendered, but I thought I was at a young age, but I wasn't.
Do you think, here's what I think happens a lot of times when kids grow up in church and they're young and they get taken to church and whatever else, maybe they could find some schools that are, you know, Christ-based Catholic, like church. We got a Carroll Catholic here. That's a really young age, and they're impressionable, and then teenage years come, and then life starts really happening. So their perspectives or ideas of who or what God is really changes no matter what, because of life circumstances.
Yeah.
By the time, like, if you still think of God in your 30s as you did in your teens, I don't know. I haven't heard too many situations like that. I mean, and for a lot of people, it kind of devolves or drops off. You were talking about having some experiences that, you know, you kind of was blaming God for a lot of stuff. You just passing all the blame off on him. You want to talk about a few of those and like how that just kind of became a routine?
It was really just one event, man. I went in the military after high school, and that's actually where I decided to start drinking at. I didn't drink through school. I drank a couple times in school, like not like I ended up being. I went in the military, and everybody was drinking, so that's what I did, and it was just a fun thing for me to do at that time. And I ended up getting in a relationship, and she didn't like how much I drank. And when somebody tells you they don't like how much you drink, what do? You drink more and you get mad. That's what happens. And you know, I didn't see myself in addiction at that point in my life. And in reality, looking back, I was starting my addiction, and it was coming on fast. And she ended up pregnant. And we had some very, very, very intense arguments over my drinking. She left, and felt it was the best thing to do was to keep my daughter from me because of who I was, how I acted. I put alcohol above everything. Nobody was important to me. And she kept my daughter, you know, away from that. She didn't want her to be hurt. And because losing my daughter through that, I blamed God for that. I didn't want to take accountability. I didn't want to have to come to him and say, I'm sorry for what I did. You know, I blamed him.
It was easier. What, you know what I mean? Right. And it felt justified. Like, here you are fighting for your country. You're in the military. Like, if a military person doesn't have the right to drink, who really does? Like, I mean, those thoughts, I'm not saying you had those, but and you're around everybody.
It happened. That thought actually did cross my mind at points.
I mean, and the peer pressure has to be crazy in the military. You got your whole
Yeah.
unit or whatever, bunk mates, all this stuff, and you're the only one not drinking, you're going to get ragged on probably a lot of
Yeah.
stuff too. So that peer pressure had to like far succeed anything in high school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how long did the relationship last though? And what's the status of all that today?
Well, that relationship with that woman lasted about a year. My daughter's mom was about a year, maybe longer than a year. You know, honestly, I will say this in all honesty. A lot of details of my life I don't remember because that's how drunk I stayed. I want to say it was a little over a year. And the being reunited with my daughter came later, and actually started that night in that bathroom when I submitted to God.
How so?
That was the other part that I heard was, I'll give you something back if you choose to follow. This is the words I heard in my head was, if you start living for me, I'll give you back something you never thought you'd get back.
Wow.
And a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, I got a message from my daughter's mom saying, hey, I want you in our daughter's life.
Wow. Did she even know that?
Mm-mm.
I mean, she didn't know that you had that year of sobriety up until
she didn't know that. She didn't know. We said we had no contact at all.
So as far as she thought, or maybe knew, you might have still been just drinking like you was when you guys separated.
Yeah.
I would have to think that something told her that wasn't the case. I don't see her being smart, being a mother, protective, being like, I'm sorry, but I got to protect my daughter.
Yeah.
To not having any proof that you changed. I think God might have maybe not talked to her, but gave her some kind of hint that it's okay to reach out. Because like I said, he's not going to move people's hearts together unless they're both willing. So there had to be a part of her that was willing, wondered about you, knew that her daughter needs her dad, and just felt like the time was right. So
yeah,
that had to make you look up and be like, okay, let's.
Well, I think that I had convinced myself enough that I didn't believe in God, and not that I deserved this in any way, but I think God was like using this as a sign to show me, hey, I am real, and I can do what I say, and because I literally,
he keeps his promises.
I literally, man, I had put God way behind me. Like he hurt me. Like, so what kind of God would hurt somebody is how I thought. So I was like, well, he can't be real. And so I think that to get my attention, man, he just started doing things in my life, and he showed that he was real.
Yeah, undeniable things, because you weren't. It might have been on your heart, but you weren't moving towards that, even with the year of sobriety and everything like that. And even just a couple of weeks after that moment in the bathroom, it still wasn't something you thought, all right, I'm going to go do this. Like 2 weeks.
I had gave up on that. I gave up on that relationship. I didn't see it ever being a thing that was possible.
Did you want it though? Like when that happened, like when you got the text message or whatnot, was you like kind of hope, like filled with joy, like, because you kind of put it off to be like almost indifferent to it to a certain degree. Did that kind of like fill you with some type of joy and excitement of like, I don't know how this is going to work, but this is from God, so I'm going to trust them?
My reaction was I hit my knees again. I hit my knees again. I said, God, you are real.
Man. It's only he that can do that, man. That's why I'm not going to get off on a tangent with this, Lord, but for all the non-believers out there, man, I pray for them really almost more than anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The believers, they got God. They got people's prayers. But the non-believers that haven't had those moments or don't think they could happen, something that's so miraculous. I'm going to call that a miracle. What God does are miracles, because it's not anything that we would even think to do, let alone know how to go out and do it and sustain it. Only he can do that. And so I always pray that for like a non-believer, that's driving by yelling at churches and making fun of them.
That was me.
that
You
they
know,
have.
I think he had his hand on, the whole DUI too. Like, I think that he knew that I was that far gone, like, in believing in him. I think he knew that I needed to sober up before I would even catch on to anything he was doing in my life.
Yeah, I mean, the brain had to restore itself, and I mean, he does it at his pace. That's why I realized early on that, like, once good things start happening for you, that's great. But everybody literally is on different levels and paces because of God's will. Like, it doesn't matter what you think you want to go out and do and all that. Yeah, you got to do that, but it's God will bring you this stuff when He knows you're ready. When you can handle and nurture a small amount, He'll give you bigger amounts. And He never stopped believing in you. So that was really the key. When you thought it was just you and your decisions and your will and choices, and that's all there was, God was like, nah, I got something better for you. Pay attention.
Yeah.
And it grabbed it. How many years did you spend in all, drinking and drowning in alcohol, making bad choices?
Oh, goodness, man. Let's see here. From the age of 18 to I'm getting ready to turn 39 in April. So 20 years.
Yeah. 2 decades.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, maybe not, you can't recall a bunch of stuff.
A lot of it. Cause I was the drinker, man. There, you got certain drinkers that are so hooked on that stuff. If it's in the refrigerator, it's going to get drunk. Like
waking up and drinking breakfast.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really wake up and drink, but when I did sit down to drink, like, I drank till I couldn't remember nothing. I passed out wherever I was. Didn't remember what happened the night before. When in my younger days, I would go places and not remember how I got there. I'd wake up sleeping in the parking lot. That's the drinker I was.
I mean, absolutely, God had to have His hand over you. You could have so easily had probably walked in or drove into a situation where you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
A lot.
And that's the other reason I think he had his hand in the DUI, because I actually slowed down drinking 2 years before I got the DUI, and I picked it back up, convincing people I could control drinking, and I was lying to them and everybody else, and I wasn't controlling it. Ended up getting a DUI when I slowed down drinking. That's why I thank God had his hand in it. When I was drinking like crazy, never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like that ever happened. But when I slowed down and I was convincing myself I had it under control, I even built a bar in my house saying, I have a bar in my house. I don't need to go nowhere. I'll never get a DUI. And I got a DUI.
Of course. I mean, it was in God's plan. It's another one of those things where, like, you didn't expect that. And He might have been, trying to get your attention, but also saving some people on the road that night. You don't know.
Yeah.
I got to mention this because my brother Brandon Dixon's in here, and you're telling your story, and I'm thinking to myself, this is a lot like his. He says, let me just put it, this hits home, same age and everything. He just turned 39 in April.
Yeah.
And he's like, praise God for second chances. He's got, I think, just about 2 years of sobriety as well.
I believe he's getting ready to be on my podcast too.
Yes, he's one of the ones I put his name in there.
So, yeah.
Anthony Gamboa, you'll want him, brother. Brandon's story is amazing. He's done this on the spot, but I know there's so much more of the story. I'm just grateful to have him in my life. But yeah, you were saying that, I'm like, holy cow, you talked about how sometimes stories are very similar to other people's, and I mean, almost to the day, the same age, and that small world, man. That's just what God does. Like, I feel like He's telling us something with that. And I mean, I didn't know your sober time. I didn't know the age or nothing like that. So just kind of wanted to mention that's just strengthening and healing in real time. So 2 decades. What was the worst moment of your addiction? And for you, or that your addiction caused somebody else?
Man, there was a lot of bad ones.
Maybe one that is still, the ramifications are still being played out today.
No, I don't think there's ramifications being played out. I mean, losing my daughter was big, but God stepped in and intervened in that. There was a point where I just kept getting in trouble, going in and out of jail, just for dumb stuff. And then one day I hurt some people. I'm not going to talk about that one a whole lot on here, but I hurt some people and it landed me in prison for 2 years.
Okay.
And that's actually where I was when I got the letter that my daughter had been adopted by my ex's husband, and there was no chance for me to even contact her or anything.
Wow.
In prison, I found out that that relationship was probably shot, gone, done.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have every reason to. Like at that point, it would just be kind of like delusional hope.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're reading it in black and white.
Right.
But God had other plans. So a couple years. That was the next question. How much jail and prison time did you experience, and what was some of the experiences inside?
I did 22 months inside in North Carolina, the state of North Carolina. Man, I seen the normal fights, gambling, but I told myself I was going to sober up in there too. And I used that opportunity to sober up. I guess, I was sober for the, I mean, you had your occasional, you'd have the stuff snuck in there, but as far as drinking, I probably drank 5 times in 22 months while I was in there. And I told myself I was going to get sober and I was going to fix my relationship with my daughter when I got out. And it was like, after I made that up in my mind, I open a piece of mail and find out she's been adopted. But I didn't have no rough experiences in there. I mean, a lot of people have horror stories. I don't. It was terrible. I mean, as far as just being there.
When you got out, did the drinking start back up?
When I got out, another little chapter of my life, and what leads me to do my outreach that I do now. I obviously was, like I said, incarcerated in the state of North Carolina. I wasn't from North Carolina. I'm from West Virginia, and they released me on parole. And because I was being released on parole, I had to pay for what they call an interstate compact transfer, and they denied it. And I was trying to come home to West Virginia where I had a place to go. And because I didn't have a place to go on my release date, they took me to Charlotte, North Carolina, and dropped me off at the homeless shelter. And I lived homeless on the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina for about 2 months, standing in line for a bed every night, walking around trying to find a job. But when you try to get a job, they're like, "Where do you live?" And you tell them the homeless shelter, and they don't want nothing to do with you. That was kind of what birthed the idea of wanting to help people in those same situations.
I totally understand that, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, the recidivism rate, as crazy as it is in these institutions, but I'm 2 years in prison. They drop you off at a homeless shelter kind of place. I don't know where was it? Greenville, North Carolina? Where'd you say?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
You never been to Charlotte?
Mm-mm. I got in trouble in Concord, North Carolina, which is in that area. And you had to go back to around the same area that you got in trouble at and serve your parole. So I guess they wanted me to do my probation time, just being homeless and checking in once a month, and somehow pay a fine that I needed to pay each month.
I mean, you didn't have much money on you when they dropped you off. So the chances of other people in that situation after a couple months, maybe not even that long, they'd be like, well, heck, and I got roof over my head in prison, 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening out here. Why not go back in. I mean, some people get institutionalized like that because there's no way for them to make it when they get out. I mean, what's the point? You struggle for a little while. They're like, well, let's break my parole and go back in, because that seems like their only option.
And I think that's the path that a lot of people do take because of that very reason. They don't know what to do. They had, like you said, they had it made. They had meals. I chose a different route, but it was a little bit more risky, but I did it and it ended up working out. It wasn't the smartest move, but I went on the run.
What'd you do? Let's hear it. Because
I went on the run all the way to Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
I had U.S. Marshals looking for me at my grandma's house and everything.
Okay. What made you decide to do this? What was waiting in Orlando?
Nothing, just some people I knew. But my idea behind that was, in my head, was like, if I could just get in a courtroom and a judge can hear that I have a place to go in my hometown against, versus where I'm at right now, staying in a homeless shelter where there's no chance of success at all. If I can just get myself in a courtroom instead of filling out paperwork that just gets forwarded to somebody they deny, maybe I can get sent home. And so I went on the run to Florida. I stayed gone for like 6 months. I turned myself back into Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was in jail for 30 days till I got in front of a judge. I told my story to the judge, and the judge dropped my parole right then and there and told me to go home.
Could have saved almost a year's worth of time.
Yeah.
I don't know what else they expected. If you leave the state and don't check in, you got a warrant for you.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even hitchhike back to West Virginia. I mean, that might have been an option. I probably would have tried that eventually, because I'm like, hey, I'm homeless anyway, so I can just make it to a rest stop here and there or a gas station. The circumstances are the same. I'm just a little bit closer to home, but they wouldn't even give you the opportunity to do that. They're like, just commit a crime and get back in here, because as everybody knows, there's money. The prisons is an economy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go down that route, but when people come into prison, they all have some of them have some skills and some things they like and they're interested in education. They should really try to match them with other people with similar skills, desires, educations, and just kind of build communities and friendships and stuff inside there. So when they do get out, they have a better idea of how to hit the ground running successfully. They just don't offer enough. They're they're there to do the time and that's it. And it just makes a lot of them worse when they get out.
Yeah.
I've never been in, so I don't really have a right to have that opinion, but I've seen enough documentaries and stuff for years to be like, why ain't they offering more to these people? And you got to want it at the same time. Some just want to get in there and just do the same thing that they did on the street. I understand that. But for a lot of the ones that ask for help, they just can't get it. Fill this out, wait 3 months, don't get in trouble. I mean, it's just... It's built the way it's built for a specific reason, and it's not for the success and rehabilitation of every inmate. It's just my belief. But he let you go. The judge finally saw the light.
Yep.
So what was your plans from there? You're like, hot dang, let's go.
At that point in my life, I'd been on the run, didn't have no vehicle. I just got on a Greyhound bus that my grandparents sent me money for, and back to West Virginia I went, no plans. Didn't have no job lined up. Stayed with my grandparents for a while. They jumped onto me for not finding a job. And, I used the whole idea, well, I've been in prison, nobody wants to hire me excuse. And that's how life went for just a little while.
Yeah. Let me come back to that one. Well, so, eventually things got better and all that stuff, but did you try not to drink at grandma or your grandparents' house? When did that kind of start coming back in?
I drank a lot while I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
With my friends there. But I didn't drink really, because my grandparents are really, 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 really big Christians, and they Did not approve of that all of that at all. And anybody that drinks know alcohol is a hard smell to cover up. So I just didn't mess with it until I kind of got on my own from there.
So what eventually ended up happening to where you started to kind of like build some solid foundation under you? Where I mean, I'm sure a job eventually came. You got out of their house.
Yeah, I ended up with a job. I think I was cutting grass and pushing snow for like $10 an hour. I met my oldest son's mom, who I ended up having a son with. We got in a relationship, married, and had a son. And through that whole relationship, the drinking picked back up, got worse, and to the point it was out of control again.
Was she like the mother of your daughter? She wasn't a big fan of it either, or did
she at first she drank with me, but I kind of have that influence on people. Like the people I'm with will drink with me at first, then they start seeing how big of a problem it is, and then they're like, whoa, what did I get myself into with this guy?
Sure.
He doesn't stop. Like,
it becomes a very, I learned this the hard way, it becomes a very unattractive habit.
Yeah.
And the people that you love, we'll just say wife, girlfriend, husband, whatever. Once they see that side of you a few times, it really sticks with them as to like, that's not anything that I even want to have in the house, let alone lay down with me.
My son was born, and for the first 2 years of his life, we were together. And both birthdays that we had, I don't remember because I showed up drunk. One of them I was supposed to deliver. I was supposed to go get the pizza for the birthday party. And again, I will honestly say at that point in my life, I chose alcohol over my family. And I showed up like 2 hours late with the pizza. Everybody was already there waiting on food. I come in drunk, carrying pizza. I'd been at the bar, tried to lie and say I wasn't. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right?
You don't realize what you're doing. Like,
no, you don't.
You don't. Like, nobody, unless you've actually done it, they don't get it. They don't realize. They're like, well, how can you not know what you did? Or how could you even think we would believe something like that? Well, in my head at that time, I thought I was coming up with a really good story.
Yeah. And you're going to walk straight and not smell anyway. Yeah, you're so out of your mind. It could be any idea. That's why I just don't even think sometimes that we have any rational thoughts, at a certain level of addiction and alcoholism, because it's just the things we decide to do or say. There's no way in the world in a sane mind we would choose to try to lie like this or do this, or I'll take the pizza 2 hours later to my son's birthday party. Like, none of that is normal. But in the moment, you're having fun, you're throwing shots back, drinking, and it's just like, there's no way we were made to be like that. The creator of it, that's not made in his image type of stuff. Maybe somebody else's image. But that's just how I see it now. I'm not gonna say that. It doesn't condone or take away any of my choices. We both put ourselves there.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I think the devil comes along and he's like, this is gonna be easy and fun for him. How many times did you try to straighten up, as you put it, on your own accord, your own strengths, your own intentions, before it really held for good?
Maybe once.
No.
Maybe once or twice. But I don't think any of them were genuine.
No. I mean, you like sobered up for a while, had some time.
There was one point, and this was just 2 years before I actually did get sober. I decided, enough was enough, and I quit drinking. Well, then I had a guy ride with me to work that drank, and he would drink on the way home, and I didn't have I guess I wasn't man enough to tell him I didn't want that in my car. And I let him drink on the way home in my car. And again, refusing to admit that I was an addict. Eventually, the addict overtook, and I was then, after a year of sobriety, drinking with him on the way home and hiding it from my wife. And I did good at hiding it that time, but because I was drinking at night and, you know, I didn't get home till 2 a.m. I'd go shower, brush my teeth, and go to bed. But yeah, I think it was the one point in my life where I actually tried to sober up, but Satan got back in there.
Oh yeah. It's funny how, yeah, those are real big tests when you're doing it of your own, and you might have had pure intentions. You were like making this decision. I've had enough of this, but it's all us, and we, you know, pun intended, that cup of motivation and determination runs empty real quick, especially when it's in front of you, because it's so awkward. I'm just saying, in the addict mind, because we're still addicts, we're just sober. We haven't changed nothing. There's been no circumcision or transformation of the heart. So all it took was just to hear like the can pop open or see somebody else drink, and you can't, like, the thought don't even come to your mind, really. I'm saying for me, not you, but of like, man, don't do that. Don't put that here. I have to get you out of the car. Like, we don't stand up for ourselves, and you just fall so easily back into it. Once you've had the transformation and the commitment, in my case, giving my will and my life over to the care of God, like, nothing has really been in front of me. I don't welcome that opportunity either. But at the same time, I'm not going to belittle anybody. I just know that because of God, that's who I would lean on to hear no, thank you, put it away, coming out of my mouth, and not rely on my own self to say it. Like, I failed me. So why would I be like, no, God, I'm going to tell him no this time? I'm not going to do that either. God says, I don't want that in your life. This is the path you've chosen to take, and that's it. I'm like, cool. Then we'll both tell him. And then it becomes more of a natural thing and not so awkward and cringy. So any friendships, relationships, bonds restored since giving your life to Christ?
My daughter. I don't really have a relationship with her mom, but it's not a I hate you every time we see each other mentality. That's gone now. God got rid of that, and I'm thankful for that. We don't talk, but, you know, there was a point in time where there was protective orders against me. There was, I don't ever want to see you comments, you know. There was no communication, like none. Like, and if there was, it wasn't nice. So that got helped through, you know, my surrender to God. And I have no doubt in my mind that my God had a hand in that.
Going back for a quick second, you said you kind of thought you'd figured it out with the picking up drinking again, drinking at night and taking a shower and all that stuff. Kelly said until I stayed awake one night.
Yeah, she busted me. And I don't really recall. I remember getting busted. And if I remember right, I said something along the lines, well, I've been doing it. See, I've got it under control. You didn't know until now. I pulled one of those lines.
Oh, gosh. It sounds like something I would have tried to say.
Yeah, like,
go to sleep. It's cool.
and, you know, I was lying to her. I was lying to myself. But I didn't even know I was. Like, I thought I had it under control. I had convinced myself that, well, I'm only doing it at night when I'm on night shift. On the way home, how good is that? You're driving and drinking. Like, how great is that? You know, I convinced myself, though, that I had my drinking under control, and that was the thing I was doing.
No. Yeah. No eyes, no wrecks. Like, this is fine. It's my routine, and heck, it probably even makes me a better person. I don't know. I mean, there's such lies that we tell ourselves are almost unimaginable. What did she give you an ultimatum? Not to keep on this one, but I mean, it's kind of fair to know what she said.
We got into a pretty decent argument over that, and you know, I stopped. Instead of hiding it, I started drinking publicly in front of her, not hiding it at that point.
Double down.
Yeah, like I wasn't. I was trying to convince her and convince myself again that I had it under control. And for the most part, I wasn't getting out of hand like I used to. But as time went on, the old Jason came back.
Sure, that's the slick manipulation. Like,
Yep.
look, see, we are good until you're not, and then all it takes is that one. Because I use that excuse for so long too. Like, I could drink and be the life of the party. I'm just singing. I'm funny. Like, this is okay. I can even do some housework. And like everything's decent. Then all of a sudden, whenever after like the 8th time of being okay and social, man, it takes a dark turn, and you just don't expect it. You're not taking that next drink thinking after this one, all hell's going to break loose, but it does.
But I was that guy before that even attempt to get sober. There was no days off. Like, this was every single day of my life, blackout drunk every evening. Like, that was my life.
You were committed to it.
And it was so bad that my wife would even ask me sometimes, could you try not to get drunk today so we can go do this? That's who I was.
It's heartbreaking, man. The person that loves you that much is like, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
She held on though. She had faith in you.
Yeah. I don't know how, but she did.
We're very fortunate. Mine was this close from shutting that door completely. Like, I don't even have any space between those fingers. I got told time will tell over 2 years ago, and I haven't taken it for granted 1 second. Nowadays, you serve the Lord 24/7, but also work in a coal mine. So, what's the toughest part of that job for you?
Honestly, and I've not said this out loud ever, the toughest part of my job now is not being underground. It's not, the nature of the job. It's the amount of time that I'm gone. Like, I work 60 to 70 hours a week. And now that I'm sober, like, that matters to me. When I was drinking, I didn't care because I was just going to go home and get drunk, and it didn't matter. But now that I see what I have in life, it affects me because I'm not as home with the people that I love and that I know and I see clearly now love me.
Yeah. I mean, I would kind of argue in a way that, like, those 60 to 70 hours not being at home because of the job. I mean, there were probably 60 to 70 hours a week you weren't home when you were home drinking and drunk.
Yeah. If I was home, I was drunk. If I was home, I was drunk.
You weren't there really either when you were there. So, I mean, how's that? How do you think the wife and the family, takes that? They understand that that's a big demanding job and everything like that. Now that you're sober, you think that, gosh, we want you home and sober and more. I mean, there's nobody's like asking you to take a different job with less hours or nothing like that, right? Like, you're fully supported, because that's a big.
Yeah, I mean, my wife would love to see me step away from that, and that is the plan eventually. I'm in ministry school right now. On top of those hours and serving the Lord, I also go to 2 different colleges at the same time.
Man.
And the plan is, once I'm done with that, is to step away and to step into full-time ministry. With those degrees.
I can see that. She supports that.
Yes.
And then she's got her eyes on that, too, right? So,
yeah.
You think you'd be in this situation without her support?
Mm-mm.
I mean, I know God's doing all of it, but it seems like he's got the right one with you. And I'll say it like this: when you are home, I know you got to take a shower and eat and all that stuff, but even with the day off now and then, I mean, do you try to just make it all about presence and family stuff? And I mean, to utilize that time you are there.
I am not good at that.
No,
I'll honestly say that. Like, I'm not, like, I stay so, and I'm very, very guilty of it. Like, I stay so invested in school and, ministry that I need to start delegating days,
Yeah.
to my family. Like,
ministry starts at home first and foremost, brother.
Yeah.
I think God knows that, and He understands that too with the family. I think you'll start seeing more days carved out that just kind of comes naturally for that.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets that. There's nothing negative to say about that, but you use the word guilty, and God doesn't want you to feel that way, especially if you're doing work for Him. But He also needs you to have that family, and if you're not putting that ministry into your home, then I mean that can be tough, taking it out of the house for other people. But that's the ones that we're really required to take care of first and foremost, and in as many ways as possible, and not to feel like it's a burden or a chore or a task. But you're young in this still. You're new, and I think if you go to God with that, He already knows. He just heard your heart. You'll start seeing as the days and months go on that you're going to start having an extra day here and some extra time, and that'll just become a normal thing. So don't let it eat at you. Okay. Here's maybe a tough one. This has been awesome so far, man. You good?
Yeah.
Are there any days where memories of the past come flooding back? If so, what do you do to combat those?
A lot of people don't believe me when I say this. When I surrendered to God, like I fully surrendered, like everything. I gave my entire life to Him. And so like where I was an alcoholic, I can go to football games and I can smell beer and I don't want it. I don't have a thought, hey, I need that. You know what? I go, man, that stuff stinks. How did I drink that? Like, I think that way. I tell my wife that. Like, I chewed and smoked and I dropped those one day, just boom. And I've not wanted it. I know a lot of people that suffer from addiction don't always get it that easy. And I'm not trying to take nothing from them or say that that's not true, because I know that that's true. You do struggle with addiction. You do. But I think God really has had His hand on my recovery. And no, I've not ever not had one moment where I've wanted the, I'm going to go home and I'm going to buy me a 6-pack and drink tonight away. I just can't stay sober. I just haven't had it.
I mean, that's part of feeling like a new person. Like that was your first person up until that moment where you became this new creation. And I do believe you. I've heard this is the one of the benefits of hearing from so many people. I've heard plenty of other stories. Brandon again, who he had when that moment of surrender happened. He never went back to anything. He never had any relapses or nothing like that. And I mean, just in my 2 years, alcohol was definitely alcoholic, but also coke and crack came into play, and that was the bigger addiction, I guess. And whatever, sometimes it's hard to explain what God did, but when that was removed from me, like I haven't had desires, temptations, urges, nothing, bad days, hearing it on TV, jokes, blah, blah, blah. Like none of it. It just feels like something I used to do that I don't even have any thoughts to go do. It's not even like I'm disgusted by it or nothing like that. I just feel like none of it even belongs to me anymore. It just, God's like, look, I saved you from that. Now, when you talk about it, that's just a story of what I did for you, not so much what you did. And I'm grateful for that. I vape. I still choose. I choose to vape. I don't hide that or nothing like that. Right. I've had some addictions definitely transfer into other categories. I think food's still one. I've really given up energy drinks as of late. Those are horrible for you.
Yeah.
But I don't feel jealous or envious of that. And other people are like, I quit smoking like that. Give all this up. I'm like, man, that's how God works for you. Yeah. It doesn't make me feel like, I'm blessed any less or anything like that or whatever. It's just something I just choose to do. I don't feel like I have less of a connection with God in any way, because I'm not hiding nothing. And that's kind of a big thing too. And when I feel like that's something to really put down, I think that'll happen. I mean, I expect it, but it doesn't stop me from doing things God wants me to do. Because obviously He could use us in spite of us.
Yeah.
He always
my 1 year mark from chewing and vaping is in like another month. I felt God calling me into ministry from the time that I hit my knees for some reason. I was enrolled in ministry school like 2 weeks later. And then one day, I'll tell you how that happened. The vaping and the chewing addiction just gone. Where I was called in the ministry, I wanted to tell you, I wanted to fully surrender to God. And I was still vaping, I was still chewing, and people do that. Like, that's just, people do it. And I did get up one morning and I prayed in the mornings before I went to work, and I still do. And I prayed a prayer that one morning, and I said, God, help, if there's something I'm doing that you want me to get rid of in my life, that I'm not aware of, that you want me to get rid of in my life, please give me the strength and the signs and the ability to do it. And that morning, I went out the door. And I went to Sheetz, and I went in and bought my drinks for work and my snacks for work, and I left. And I got about halfway down the road to work. I wasn't halfway down the road to work. I was about 5 minutes from the gas station, but I was already running late. And I got to thinking, I was like, shoot, I meant to buy a tub of snuff. And I was like, well, too late now. I'm running late. So I reached down in my console to grab my vape. Wasn't there. I'd left it in the bedroom at the house. So I didn't have neither one. And I just, on my way to work, I looked up and I said, okay, God, I don't need any clearer of a sign. I don't need the sign's pretty clear right there.
Wow.
That's it. And from that day, I've not chewed and I've not vaped one single time and not wanted it. That is just proof of how powerful God is. Like,
yeah, it is. I mean, that scenario didn't happen that often, right? Going to work, popping in there.
And he says, if you believe it, it's done. That's what he says to us. If you believe it, if you believe in me, it's done. And that's what he did. I believed in his power, unlike I did in the earlier years of my life where I didn't believe in his power and I blamed him for everything wrong in my life. Once I started believing in his power, and he took something that I tried so many times to stop on my own, and it just never worked out for me. And like I said, a year, like next month. I
mean, was there, like, you had to get home and throw the vape away, probably, right?
Yeah, and I did.
It wasn't hard to do?
No, you can ask. My wife can be she can be a witness to that. Like, I just, like, she don't even understand it. Like, she gets it.
Toss it away like a banana pill, like it wasn't nothing to you.
It was done.
That's,
I think because she vapes, and it's something she wants to stop. But I think I gave it to her. I don't remember if I threw it away. Like,
okay.
Like, I just,
you were done.
Yeah, just done.
And
again, I don't fault anybody for vaping or chewing.
No,
I don't. I was asking in my life, what do you want me to get rid of?
Yeah, and that's a funny thing. I don't want to take up too much time, but I was smoking and chewing now and then. I was doing those other patches, then back to vaping. I've been all over the place with it, but the chewing and the pouches has been gone for quite a while now. I don't think I'll ever go back to them. The cigarettes I replaced with the vape. I don't feel as bad when I vape, I guess. Some people say it's worse than cigarettes. I'll give into that, but it's something I just really still choose to do. Like, so I know if I go to God and be like, remove something in my life if you don't want me to do it, but I'm still like just not ready to do the vape. Like, I can't go to him in false prayer.
Yeah.
Because I'm not ready to give that up yet. I mean, I don't want to, and I'd like to quit, but I just keep choosing to right now. So, but if God shows up and he's like, look, you're going to throw that away and that's it. And I mean, I'll trust you. Then I'll be fine with that, because there was no like withdrawals or psychological stuff with the coke and the crack.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's as bad as this vape. Like, I mean, I mean, if people were hitting the vape pens and stuff as much as they were the crack pipes, then something else is in that vape. But an addiction is an addiction. It's really psychological. So
on them vapes, I'll show you. I'll give you an example of the power of God on them vapes. They smell so strong, right? You know, they have a scent to whatever flavor you're smoking. They smell.
No.
You know, my wife can vape in front of me and I don't even smell it.
Wow.
I don't know why. Well, I think I know why. I think it's not. I don't think he allows me to smell it. Like, I forget that she even does it until she needs me to be the one to run and go get her one. I forget she even does it.
Fair enough.
You know, like, and that's just, I believe that's the power of God, you know, standing in front of me. Because a lot of times you can smell something or get reminded of something and you want to go right back to it.
Yeah.
God stands in between me and the scent of that vape. Like, I don't even smell it. I've always thought that was crazy since the day I stopped, because when I tried to stop before, that's what had me hooked back in, was the smell of it.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh man, that smells good. I've got to let me hit that. I'd take hers and hit it.
When
I tried to stop before. But when I said that prayer and fully surrendered, like, I don't smell it at all. Like I said, I forget that she even does it half the time.
That's crazy that you wouldn't smell it, because they're potent.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I haven't smoked cigarettes, I do smell the cigarette smoke more often. It's especially if I'm sleeping or whatever. So that's kind of weird. I don't know, but I do know this. I can say this in all earnestness, that I can't see me. I think the majority of my years of vaping and smoking and all that stuff, I think that they're behind me. Like, I'm not going to be like, this is the year I quit and I'm going to quit. I can't do that. I mean, God's done what he's done without me making any, declarations. So it's just something I know I'm moving towards. But I'm not in a hurry, and I don't let it make me feel like I'm any less than this follower of Christ or this one or that.
It's not a requirement.
He's already these bigger things. Like, this is something I'm sure he doesn't prefer,
right.
But the things he's removed from me, this is not going to get me kicked out of the house.
Right.
Coke and the alcohol and the crack did. And that does, so he knows the pace and the level I'm at. And sometimes he indulges me. Like, he'll like, in spite of you, I'm going to keep doing what you're doing, because I know that he's got this removed from me. Eventually, he knows the pace at which I'm kind of dragging my heels to get there, but it'll happen. I believe that wholeheartedly. The day, I don't know.
That's what's crazy about mine, man. I didn't even know I was going to stop. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. Like, I was just going to keep going on.
So that wasn't one of the things you had in mind when you made the prayer.
Yeah, I didn't have any clue I was going to quit.
But God said, okay, well, you're giving me your will on this one, so here we go. And that's the card he drew. That's why I say people have all these priorities that they make in their life. They write down their 10 top priorities, and they start working on these. And I'm like, well, how do you know, if you don't run them by God, what his priorities for your life are?
Right.
He might have you be working on number 7 today, and you got 7 at number 1 or whatever. It's just like his priority list goes right along with his will be done.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, okay, God, I'm going to work on all this for the next 3 months and hope you're cool with it. Like, it doesn't, maybe you get lucky and they are, but so I'm an open book. He knows my heart.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, if you really step in and move me and give me that clear sign, I take it as obedience at that point. I mean, that's got to be me. But even if I fail and pick back up, he doesn't love me any less for that. There's lessons I have to learn the hard way. I don't want things just removed from my life. I want to see the errors of my ways and learn how to prevent the same thing from happening. My life's always been one big cycle. So I kind of appreciate the struggle sometimes that I create myself. I just don't want to be like, oh, I'm in trouble, help me. Like, I don't want my dad to do that all the time, because he's done enough.
Yeah.
Let's say this. What would you say your purpose is today? How do you do you feel you're living up to that?
My purpose is to serve God. That's how I live my life now. Everything I do. I don't think there's a moment during my day, you know, that he doesn't cross my mind, what he did for me, what he saved me from, um, how he loved me when I had nothing to offer. I don't think there's a time that doesn't cross my mind. And I feel like I'm one of them people. I feel like my purpose is to serve him and throughout different ways, through outreaches, through the podcast. I mean, just somebody being able to share their testimony helps them out a lot of times. It helps them out. It eases what they've been carrying when they can release it sometimes.
Yeah.
And you see that in people. Outreach, man, I feel like I'm serving God. I feel like outreach to me is serving like Jesus did. When you start reaching out to homeless people and people that don't have anything, those are the people that Jesus went after.
Yeah.
He didn't go after the rich people. He went after the people that society had wrote off. And that's what I feel my purpose is outreach. Outreach is like the podcast is my thing a little bit, it's not my main thing. Like my outreach stuff, that's growing into where I think God's called me to be. And that's my purpose, I think, is outreach. Helping fortunate.
And you get your confidence for all this because of him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily all your ideas and purposes and plans, but if they line up with what God will have you do, then you're really just having to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? And not have so many extra ideas and plans and thoughts because, like we said, they God might have you doing that for a certain time and then pull you into a certain different direction. And that's up to you and that's up to me to go that way or not. I think it's better that we do, because if we're like, we just set up shop on this walk with Christ, we're like, you know what? Kind of good here. Life's gotten better. I'll catch up with you. I bet you whatever you're building out of disobedience is built on sand, and we won't be able to sustain it no matter how much effort you put into it. If God's not backing it, I don't know. I don't know what anybody thinks that they're going to be able to do it depends on what the level of success is that you're in it for.
You definitely nailed it on the head there with you just have to show up. I mean, we did an outreach event in Matoka, West Virginia, which is the town next to mine. And it's the economy hit it hard, and there's probably more homeless people than sheltered people.
Wow.
And me and my wife, God had always placed that, less fortunate people on my heart, even before I was saved. He was already speaking to me. I just didn't realize it. And 7 years ago, I bought these stockings before I was saved. And me and my wife were going to stuff them full of hygiene items, and we were going to go out and hand them out to homeless people. We never did it. So fast forward 7 years to this year, Love Thy Neighbor Outreach, which is what I run. We ran, me and my wife, it was just me and my wife. We were going to get these stockings again, and we were going to stuff them with hygiene items, and we were going to go out and just walk around, hand them to homeless people. Well, word got out that we were doing this, and then outreach teams started reaching out to me. More in particular, the outreach of the town of Matoka reached out to me, the town I was planning on going to, and said, hey, we hear that you're going to hand out stockings to the community. We'll go ahead and notify the community that you're coming. And I freaked out. I looked at my wife and I said, oh no, we don't have enough stuff for that. We don't have enough stuff for a whole community to show up. I said, we've got 30 stockings. 30 stockings is what we have. I said, oh no.
Like the loaves of bread story.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I'm freaking, I'm ready to back out. Like, oh no, we can't do this. The next thing I know, it's like I blinked my eye and I had 8 brand new team members on Love Thy Neighbor Outreach that are ready to go. I mean, geared up, ready to go. just out of the blue, ready to go with me, want to do this stocking thing with me. I go to Lifeline Church, and we got an Operation Lifeline, which is they hand out food and stuff like that. The leader of that calls me up, and she goes, "Hey, I want to help you stuff them stockings you got." Yeah, we didn't have enough stuff to fill them. Even the 30 we had, we didn't have enough stuff to fill them. And this woman calls me. She goes, "Hey, I want you to bring them the church." She goes, "I want you to bring them stockings up. We want you to bring them into our warehouse, my office. We want to fill them up for the people, for the homeless people." I said, "Okay." Oh my goodness. Thank you, God. Then that's when I heard that they were going to like put even more word out in the community, that other outreach. I was like, "Oh no." Well, then they call me and they want to meet with me. They want to like have an official meeting. And, I'm like, I don't know what they want to talk about. I just wanted to walk around and hand out stockings. I said, so I'm driving to this meeting. I got sick. The devil tried to attack me right then and there. I got sick. I mean, felt like I was on my deathbed. I'm driving to this meeting in Matoka, and I'm just going to turn around. I mean, all I really wanted to do is hand out stockings. I don't have the answer to these people. They're expecting me to put on some big event. I don't have the resources to do that. But God kept telling me, he's like, "Don't you dare turn around. Don't you dare turn around." Okay, so I get to Matoka. I pull up to this building where they told me to meet them at. I walk in, and there's probably five ladies standing there, 5 women. They're all part of Matoka Outreach. And they start asking me, like, "All right, so what's your plan?" I was like, "Well, I really didn't have one." I said, I was just going to go around with my wife, and I was going to hand out stockings full of stuff. The church helped me fill some stuff, and they just started rambling off stuff. She goes, "Well, this woman right here is going to have pots full of spaghetti. We're going to serve food. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to have clothing. We're going to have this. And I'm like, "All right, God." All I had to do was show up.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, man. Like the outcome of that event, man, the people that we served, the amount of stuff when I thought we didn't have enough that we just left there for them to come and get on any other day that they might, if they didn't get to make it to that event, they could come. We left 4 tables of clothes that I didn't have. When I thought I was going to like go in there empty-handed, was going to have to back out and not do it. That's the power of God. Like that's God at work.
Yeah.
He goes before us, like before. So when I was questioning myself on the way to that building that day, when I was saying, I'm just going to turn around, I don't have the resources, God was already there before me working.
Oh yeah.
He was before me working, and
Jesus had the will for sure all the way to
yeah. And that fishes and loaves, that's the story my wife kept reminding me of when I kept saying we don't have the resources to do what they're wanting us to do. And you know what? We had 4 tables more than we needed at the end of it.
Yeah,
we couldn't even haul back home. We couldn't haul it back home. We had too much stuff. It was just crazy, man.
From very little or not enough to abundance, just because of obedience.
Yeah.
And I mean, and even not your faith, but you were even like, man, this isn't even going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep your eyes on Jesus, not the storm.
Yeah.
Or your
my fleshly side took over and was like, you don't have enough to do this. And the devil attacked me, man. I got sick. I'm telling you, I got sick.
Of course.
And I had 5 days to get better. And on that 5th day, I got worse. And I'm standing there, and the devil kept trying to tell me, "Go ahead, just don't go. You're sick. Don't do it." And I refused to let God down that day because he didn't let me down.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You might not have went that day because you were sick. I bet you would have started feeling better like a couple hours after the event. And then how
I got better after the event. That was what was crazy. The next morning I woke up.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were going to. I just knew. I don't know. I just knew you were going to say that. But you would have been so sick psychologically and heavy-hearted, thinking that I can't make it. Like I'm going to go and be sick, and this ain't going to be right. So. Yeah, that's exactly what the devil wanted. The devil knows the outcomes of things too if you choose to disobey God.
Yeah. And
that's what he wants you to do. He might have even been in the car with you that day, but Jesus was in control of the engine, the highway, the traffic, the wheel, you and everything else. How humbling was that?
that
Just
he.
there had to be a point where you were standing there just seeing it all, being like,
I had a buddy there named Kevin, and he's actually the vice president of my outreach team, and I started seeing these people come in, that had nothing, and man, I ain't gonna lie, I had to kind of go behind them because I teared up, because I couldn't believe. I didn't think that my God was going to come through, and He did. He was teaching me another lesson right there. Don't you ever doubt me.
yeah,
Don't you ever doubt what I can do. Don't you ever doubt the path that I put you on.
it don't even matter what you think, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was very humbling. And that outreach event didn't just touch the people we served; it touched the people that served with us.
Mm.
And that's what I love about outreach. Is it doesn't just minister to the people you're serving; it ministers to the people that are serving them too. They get a reality check.
Sure.
They get to see how good they do got it. And they get to experience what it was like to be Jesus. That's the people Jesus served.
That's a great point. It kind of adds to the meaning of life. Like if you're not living life, and I fail. I don't do this every day, so I'm not preaching or saying I do this, but it's a thought I've had pretty recently over maybe the last 6 months or so. If you're not trying to like put somebody else's needs ahead of yours, no matter what you have or don't have, you can still do something for somebody else who has less, or just needs to hear something. That's a nice shirt. I like the Bears. What a cool hoodie.
Yeah.
You don't know if something like just being kind for kindness sake is service, because that might just be something that turns their entire day around. And I know people, because the world will tell you this, well, that don't mean nothing. That was silly to say. It has no effect on anything. My God can do anything. He can even, like, if I don't even mean that, I don't even like the Bears, or I do, but I'm just saying it doesn't even matter what my intention is. God will take that and be like, I'm going to take it from here.
Yeah.
Just showing up. And that's half of it, man. And to be kind and gracious, and, patience has been my biggest crutch. But to let traffic go in front of me or just wait my turn and stuff like that, it makes me feel closer to God because of how much patience He's had for me.
Yeah.
46 years of patience, picking me up every time I fell, being used, but not letting Him use me.
Yeah.
And I can't pay none of that back. He didn't just make the payment. He is the payment. You know what I mean? So even with all that you're doing, all that we can do, all of our outer works, they can't ever equal that grace and that blood that was shed on the cross.
No.
That's it. And I think that's a big lesson to learn, even early on. I mean, there's probably 20-year Christians that may still feel like they got to go out there and do everything they can to pay God back for something He gave freely. And I think that was something that was put in my heart, pretty early on. And it's helped because, you think you get something so much that you don't deserve, then you got to get out there and try to like pay that back and earn it and deserve it and make yourself worthy of this. He did it despite you and your intentions and your failures and your mistakes and everything else. And it's just the beauty of it, man.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I forgot to ask. You said the outreach a few times, and you said it, Love Thy Neighbor Outreach. There's a Facebook page and stuff where people can get a hold of you on that.
Yeah.
Maybe get involved. Who knows? And you're in Ohio now, ain't you?
No, West Virginia. West Virginia. I'm in Princeton, West Virginia. We are serving right now. Matoka is my big area, which is the town over from us in Princeton. I actually talked to my buddy, Aaron Cochran.
Yeah.
I actually talked to him a little bit last night, and we are looking to do an outreach mission trip. I haven't even brought this up to nobody yet because it's a brand new idea. I haven't even brought this up to my wife or nobody. I haven't had a chance to talk to nobody about it.
Kelly, listen in. It's on the spot. What happens?
he runs Whosoever Outreach in Dalton, Georgia, and me and Aaron have hit it off pretty well since he was on my podcast, and we're thinking about doing a summer event. That's like a 2-day event, like a 2-day outreach event in Dalton, Georgia, where the two outreaches merge, like an outreach mission trip. And I'm excited about that. But yeah, I love Thy Neighbor Outreach. It's man, it's just, I think there's people out there that, that deal with like homelessness, or you don't even have to be homeless. You could be living in a house with no power. And just in, unwanted circumstances, uncomfortable circumstances. And Love Thy Neighbor Outreach is not the group that's going to sit there and wait for you to come in the church building. We're going to come to you.
Beautiful.
We're going to come to you. We're not going to wait on you. We're going to meet you right where you are. We're going to pray for you if you want it. We're going to give you what you need. We're going to keep you warm. We're going to keep you dry. We're going to feed you. Because a lot of these people, they're not going to hear about God unless you bring it to them.
Yeah.
You're the only chance they've got to hear about what God did for them, sending his son to die for them, and that there's somebody out there that loves them regardless of what they have. And we want to be the team that does that. We want to be the hands and feet of Jesus in our community, and in the future spread throughout. My vision for this is to be spread throughout the whole country.
If it's God's will.
Yeah.
You don't have to change anything or add to it other than showing up.
Yeah.
And he'll balance all the rest out. You know what I mean? If you feel like you got to put your foot on the accelerator, God might be like, well, hold on.
Yeah. I'll tell you another God moment too with this outreach stuff. This just happened this past Sunday. I went to Celebrate Recovery. My pastor thought it would be a good area for me to help in. And I think Celebrate Recovery is a great thing. I do. It just wasn't my thing. And I felt out of place there. But anyways, I was there, and there was this homeless man was there, and his name was Mike. And I left that session of Celebrate Recovery, and I looked at my wife and I said, God's want me to help that man. This is months ago. I said, he's wanting me to help that man. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm supposed to do or how I'm supposed to help him, but he's wanting me to help that man. And some months went by. I'm sitting in church Sunday, and we had some snow and rain. And here comes this man. I told you how big the church is. He walks all the way across the sanctuary, this guy, the guy I'm talking about from Celebrate Recovery. And out of the whole church, he sits beside me. And immediately I felt God convicting my heart right there. He said, God was like, pray for this man right now. And I started arguing with God for a second. I was like,
that's real.
In the middle of church.
Mm-hmm.
But I was obedient. I stood up. Well, I put my hand on him. Well, no, I didn't put my hand on him yet. I looked down and said, Mike, you've been on my mind. I said, I don't know if you remember me, but from Celebrate Recovery, I met you a few months ago. He said, yeah, I remember you. And I said, man, can I just pray for you? He said, yeah, but don't touch me because I'm soaking wet from last night. And I said, I don't care. I don't care. And I prayed for him. And man, that turned out to be me running around with Mike all day. Me and the outreach team collected stuff that he needed. We gave him a new sleeping bag, clothes, hand warmers, gloves, hats, duffel bags, stuff to keep his stuff dry. He showed me where he was staying at, man, and it broke my heart because, like I said, it snowed, and he pointed up to where he was staying at, and it was just a little clearing in the woods, and you could see it because, it's fall or it's wintertime. There's no leaves on the trees. And it was just a sleeping bag in the middle of that little area, just covered in snow. It broke my heart. So we gave him a new sleeping bag with help from the church, too. They also gave him items. But I drove him around to Amy's House of Hope, where he got another meal. I picked him up from there, took him to Celebrate Recovery, and he's staying behind the church. But it just shows you that sometimes God speaks to you and he wants you to do things, and you don't know the answers. Sometimes them answers and them opportunities come months down the road. That very man that I told my wife I felt like God wanted me to help, just walked and sat beside me in front of a sanctuary full of like 1,100 people, like 3 months later. And that's when God said, okay, now I'm ready for you to work.
The seed that day.
Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't like leave your mind or nothing. Like that was there. And he remembered you.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of seats to just kind of randomly. I mean, I'm not saying he like saw you and came over there specifically.
No, he didn't see me. He just walked. And he walked, I'm telling you, he probably walked about 30, 40 rows and sat right beside me. My wife was actually serving in the Sunday school that morning, so she wasn't out in the actual service with me. And he sat right beside me. Like, it was crazy, man. I felt God working right there, like just did.
He was leading, he was guiding them all the way to that seat.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful, man. I'm really glad and appreciate you sharing that one. I mean, that might not be it though. You might see him again, or there might be something else. Who knows what God's doing on the work on his heart? Who knows what he might be using Mike for? Right now, Mike's in need, but that doesn't mean that within a month or 3 months down the line, he might be helping somebody else out. That's the beauty of it. Because just what you do for somebody else that's fantastic. But for us to think that like, oh God, thank you for helping me help this person, we stop there and not be like, no, please let that person help somebody else way more than I just helped him.
Right.
Because that's what God's trying to do. It's not just like, oh, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Pass that on for that person to even do more than what I just did or what you had me do. That's the beauty of it. I feel when God does something, there's so many multiple reasons for it, but a lot of times people will just be like, thank you for this one singular thing. And God's like, yeah, you're welcome, but there's ripple effects in every direction that you don't even see. I don't think that's being hopeful or whatever, wishful thinking. I believe that wholeheartedly. Like, yeah, this is happening, but this might happen because of that. And this, and that's out of our hands at that point. But it doesn't just stop with like the good deed that we did. It's his works that are everlasting.
My thing with outreach though is you get so many things, and it's great that people give stuff away. They donate stuff. It's great. Not everybody has a compassionate heart in every area that everybody else does. My mission with this outreach team is to not just hand somebody a box of food, not just hand them a coat and say, okay, I hope your day gets better.
All right.
My mission is to let you know that you're loved, remind you that you're not forgotten, remind you that you aren't written off by every single person in this universe.
Oh.
God loves you and that I love you.
Yeah. And I mean, the beauty, that's so spot on. I mean, the thing about that is like, if you're in a position, God put you in a position to help somebody who may be less fortunate at the time, that's beautiful. And you're being obedient, but God doesn't love you any more than the person you're helping.
Right.
That's less fortunate. And I sometimes kind of like forget that too. It's like, oh, well, God has to be in this position to help somebody do this. And I'm like, well, he doesn't favor me any more than that person that needs my help. That's just what Christ would do. I mean, he treated everybody the way that they deserve to be treated. I mean, some were not great people, but God was still fair and loving and spoke in truth. If there was the Pharisees he talked to, the tables that he flipped, and Peter when he told him to keep his eyes on him. I mean, it was all out of love and truth.
Yeah.
And compassion, even when it was correcting and chastising in some ways, which none of us can do that perfectly. We never will be able to.
No.
Man, this has been incredible, dude. I could talk to you for hours. I want to say this right quick because I see my wife put it in here and she's got a knack for these kinds of things. And then God, I feel like he told me something. Have you heard of the name Bobby Hayden Jr.?
No, I haven't.
I'll have a conversation with you later on, but he was a child prodigy, musician, singer. He's been in bands. He was kind of big in the 80s and stuff. An addict on Skid Row. He did his On the Spot with us. He's got this ministry called Cardboard Box Ministry because he used to live in a cardboard box in Skid Row.
Yeah.
Years of addiction, heavy addiction, brother, heavy drugs. Had a God moment, got his life all turned around, still plays music, but he uses it to go out to different rehabs and sober houses and places and churches and share his story and offer, prayer and service and all this stuff. And he's such a wonderful individual. He's well in his, I think, early 70s, man, but he's got more energy than most 20-year-olds I know. And I've stayed in contact with him somewhat. He travels all over. He's been in Georgia, Alabama. I think he's coming up north, but he's always saying, man, like, just tell everybody I'll come. He's like, tell your church I'll come, and this and that and the other. And I'm just saying that's somebody I'd like for you to at least think about talking with. And like, you never know, you might be able to hit it off. I don't mean to impose or anything like that, but it's somebody I'd like for you to at least maybe talk to or contact in some way. Not that you need him for anything like that, but with what you're doing and with the thing with Aaron and how he is, I've gotten to know him. You never know. This outreach thing might grow bigger than just two. Just because he would show up, and then you'd have entertainment and then prayers and stuff like that with them sharing a story. But he's a great dude. I'll tell you more about him when we get off.
I'm excited to hear about him, man.
You hear his story.
I think all the different outreach teams need to work together. I don't think it should be, hey, I'm against this outreach. No, I think you all got to put your heads together and your hands together and your feet together and be one walking body of Christ.
It's strength in numbers. I mean, the kingdom is one giant kingdom of like your outreach, and Aaron will get in there. You know what I mean? So why not get together down here to get more numbers up there?
Yes.
I mean, so it's just, I know his heart. We've had conversations. There's nothing you won't like about him. And I didn't want to at least like just not say anything. And who knows? So God will take it from there. Like I said, we'll talk about that later on. But once you hear his story, he talks to you, you're going to be hard. It's going to be hard for you to be like, he's just that good of a guy, man. And he's all about Christ. Let me see. I think I got one more question for you, and then some final stuff from you at the end. I've heard you. I love this about you. I seen a post a few weeks ago, not long after I did my testimony with us, where I guess you get some naysayers, some haters saying you're only doing this
man.
for money. Have you made millions yet?
Not money, not necessarily money.
But what do you say to the naysayers and the ones that say you're just doing this to get clicks and likes and whatever else, that you don't really feel this?
Oh, I feel it. Buddy, I'm an emotional Christian. I get teared up. When I start thinking about what my father did for me, buddy, I get tore up. If I'm praising in church, I get tore up.
Does it bother you that some people doubt you? Does it bother you that some people doubt you?
When Satan wants to attack me, yes.
Oh, okay.
But I had a little scenario a few weeks ago, and a young man at work really woke me up. I was guilty of, going to work and still hanging out with the same people that I did before, not engaging in conversations that I did before, but being there to hear them, laughing about them. And I wasn't showing the Christian attitude that I should at work. It was like I was flipping a switch. And, I got into it with a young man at work that I've worked with for a few years now. And me and him got into an argument and we said some things to each other that you just shouldn't say to each other. And one of the things he said to me was, something along the lines of, you're supposed to be the big preacher Christian. And, I got mad at first, but you know what? I went back to that kid a few weeks later, and I don't mean, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's just a lot younger than me. I shouldn't call him a kid. That was actually one of the things that got said in the argument, but he's younger than me. And the young man, he's not like actively in church. He's a regular, person that needs to get in church. He needs to get him and his family in church. But I went back to him and I thanked him for saying that. because with him saying that, it helped me grow, because I went back home and I thought about that. And I was like, you know what? As mad as I am at him, he's right.
Huh.
He's right. I still sit there and I gossip and I pick on people. And, I'm not saying all that has to go away. It doesn't. But when you put yourself out there as going to school to be a preacher and all that other stuff, it's got to stop. And I wasn't doing that. And he called me out on it. And God used that young man that day to convict me. He used him to convict me. And since that day, and I hope that he sees it now, that I told him that his comment like affected me. I said, man, I said, I'm sorry for the things I said. I shouldn't have said it. And the one thing in particular you did say really had a big effect on me. And I appreciate you saying that to me, because I wasn't seeing that with my own eyes.
Wow.
And, he said, hey, man, no hard feelings. Because this has been, I'd say it was 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago this happened. And again, like I said, I'm still young in this walk. And there was things I hadn't let go of still. And I didn't even realize I hadn't let go of those things.
Sure. And
an argument with this young man reminded me that I hadn't. And I just thanked him. I said, you have no clue how much that helped me grow.
That's a big moment.
I separate myself from that stuff. Like, I still hang out with my friends, but I don't engage in the same conversations. I don't think the same things are funny. I don't encourage the conversations like I was and what he was referencing that day that we got into that argument. So sometimes God can speak to you through the least expected.
That's a big moment, man. And it made me think of like the asking God to remove whatever from you, and it ended up being the vaping thing.
Yeah.
That worked at the time. That was the right time for that. I mean, it would be easy to argue to like, well, the vaping as opposed to like gossiping and being cynical still while going to ministry school, one might outweigh the other, but you're ready in a sense to be convicted at the time of that argument because it made you mad. But then you turn that and you're like, why am I mad? You looked right here. Yeah. And you're like, okay, wow. So that's the beauty of God's priorities and timing. I mean, if he would have had that argument at the time of that day that you gave up the vape, or he took that from you, you might have just stayed mad. You might have said more than you did. You might not have seen it that way. You might have just been like, oh, that's all on him. You remember like how I used to blame God for some stuff back in the day. But like, I'm going to ministry school. That dude don't know what he's talking about. You need to talk to him. I don't need to hear from him. God does it in the timing that is perfect for us.
Yeah. That young man, his name's Derek, man. And as he matures and if he gets himself into church and he starts walking this kind of life, if he surrenders his life, he'll understand what I meant by telling him thank you, and something he said at the moment, as an argument of comment,
he was being critical.
Comments were trying to hurt the other person. He'll understand one day why I thank him, because like I said, he opened my eyes to stuff I didn't even see. And, and I sat there and thought about that comment, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be the example of Christ to these young men. And I am not doing that. They're seeing it on Facebook. They're hearing other people talk about me doing this and this and this. But when I get under here, they're not seeing it. They're not seeing it lived out in my life. And his comment awakened that in me. God spoke to me through that young man, and I will forever, as crazy as that sounds, I will forever be grateful for an argument that I had with a young man at work.
It sounds just like how God works, man. You got to take Christ 1,300 feet down with you every day. He's got to be in them coal mines too. Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. That's a great story to end this on. Jason, I that's really all the questions I had for you, man. I wanted to keep this under 2 hours so I could get the clips. I love those clips. The city. Yeah. I know I'm not trying to limit it or nothing, but I'm right at the end anyway. Let me finish with this. Just the final words of encouragement for everybody listening and will be watching it later. Anything else you want to add? Plug the I Am Living Proof podcast. Well, I guess I just said it. Your YouTube channel. Mention the outreach again. Anything else on your heart or mind, and then pray us out, man. I really appreciate it. This has been excellent.
Yeah. Man, the only thing I've got to say is, man, I'm not where I'm at because I got life figured out. I'm where I'm at right now because God didn't give up on me. Like, he came to me when I had nothing to offer, and he loved me anyways. And you don't find that in nobody in this earth. You don't find that in nobody. If you ain't got nothing to offer, they're probably not going to love you. They're not. But that man will love you when you have nothing. When you're at your lowest, he loves you even more. It seems that way anyways. He loves you the same all the time, but it seems like he loves you even more when you're at your lowest. And you're never too far gone. Like I was really, really, really gone. Like gone. And he still felt like I was worth the time and the effort as a project of his. Oh. And I'll forever be gracious for that through my God, our Savior, and Jesus Christ. But that's all I've got. You guys want to go out in prayer? I don't know how you want to end this.
Yeah, I just want to say right quick that, I mean, first time giving your testimony, man. I was going to ask you how you felt about it, but I'll kind of tell you, you should feel fantastic. God was all over this one. It was really good for your first time.
Thank you.
And, I love the position God has you in. I'm glad he put you in my path for us to meet. Anything I can help you out with along the way, you know I'm already there. You just have to ask.
Yeah.
So thank you once again, Jason Richmond, everybody, and he's going to pray us out.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in the mighty name of Jesus. God, I appreciate the time that you granted me to share my story on Trav Ingram's podcast here. God, I pray for everybody that's a part of the God-based recovery group. God, I pray for anybody that's struggling right now. I pray that somebody heard this story and it touched somebody, God. I know that you brought me here for a reason. There's somebody that needed to hear the victories, the losses, and all the in-betweens that I went through. God, I know there's somebody on here right now listening that's going through the same thing. God, I pray that you touch this podcast of Trav's. I pray that you use it for your glory. God, I pray that you touch more and more and more lives every day through this podcast, God. And I pray that you watch over every person, every family member of this podcast and this recovery group. God, I pray you watch over us today, tomorrow, and for here on out. In your gracious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Brother, that was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. Maybe sometime down the road we could do another one. I mean, I know there's more to the story, but thank you so much.
Thank you, man. It's been an honor.
Wow. Give our best to Kelly and the family there, man. May your house be blessed for years to come. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. And like I said, I hope I gained a brother in you, and I'll be definitely interested in watching all that God has you do in the years to come. Absolutely,
man. This has been an honor, man. I appreciate your time to hear my story, because a lot of times we don't think our story is worth hearing, but it really is.
Well, if God had his hand in it, they're definitely worth hearing, man. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, Jason Richmond. Everybody was on the spot. Appreciate it. And go support him and his page and everything he's doing, man. Love Thy Neighbor outreach. Get involved if you can. West Virginia area. Jason, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. God bless.
God bless you.